Hey, welcome back everyone. So let's continue working on the Creative Business template. In a previous tutorial, we talked about um, the slider and how to perform edits, how to change the content, maybe the image, add your own uh, content, or just duplicate the existing slides and then change the slides with your own content. Now, I also recommended that if you only have like one slide for your slider, it makes no sense to use Slider Evolution or any other plugin to create your slider. You would be um, having like better results in terms of page speed by just using Elementor and creating the content using Elementor. And this is what I want to do in this tutorial. I'm going to delete the existing slide, the second slide for this slider evolution slider. And I'm going to recreate this slide entirely using Elementor. It's actually pretty easy, it's a lot faster, and it's just, the right solution to use. So let's go to our dashboard. And where is it? Slider evolution. Let's go to overview. Okay, we have here the existing slider. I'm going to edit the existing slide. And for slides, slide number 2, I'm going to delete it completely. I just want to have one slide. So let's save. Let's go to our dashboard and let's view our site. Cool. So we only have one slide here, and we have some neat animations. If you want, the text is appearing from the top, then this one is coming from the bottom, and we have also 2 buttons here. Cool. So let's try to edit this page with Elementor and see what we can do. Let's click on Edit with Elementor. Wait for the actual editor to load. Okay, nice. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to create a new section, which in this case is actually a container. In the latest version of Elementor, we are not using section directly. We are going to be using containers instead. So if you see a container here, just remember that it's the same thing as a section, but you have like more customization options in terms of how the content inside it behaves, how to align elements inside it, and so on. Cool. So let's try to recreate this layout. The first step I'm going to do is to set the height of this container. So we have 2 options here. We either go here under min height and we start dragging the slider and use whatever value you want to use, or instead we can use VH the VH values, which allows us to actually do something like this. So if I enter 100 VH, this means our container will be set as full height. But remember that we also have to consider that we have a certain height for the header. So I'm not going to use 100. Instead, I'm going to use with 97 just for this example. Right, so what's next? Well, let's go here under style. We have still the container selected. Let's go to style, let's go to background. And I'm going to use the same image just for this example. Now we see that the image is being repeated a couple of times. And what I want to do here is under display size, we can use cover. Okay. Obviously, we can choose the image position to be center-centered, and now we have pretty much the same positioning as the image in the slider. Okay, well, what else? Well, let's start adding this title, this heading. So I'm going to use a heading title, heading element, and I'm simply going to start typing programming is just as I don't know what I typed here. Cool as, and let's just tap and go to style, and for the text color just choose a white color so I can see whatever I'm typing here. It's just as cool as designing, right? So this is the content we want to have first. Let's center it. Let's go to style. Also, the big advantage is that now we can choose which type of HTML tag to use for SEO purposes. If this is like the first heading on your page and is very representative for the actual content, you should go with H1. So let's go to style, and we can actually choose how big or how small you want this to be. And I know for a fact that this is using an 80 pixels value. How can we make this a bit smaller? Well, we can specify for this element specifically a certain width. So let's go with custom and maybe choose pixels is just as. So now we have, let's go with 800. We have 800 pixels, and we can center this something like that. One thing that we don't like here is the fact that the content of this container, is appearing at the top. So let's go back with the container selected. Remember, we have to select the parent container, not the actual heading element. And then we can choose here to be centered. And now you can see that this element appears centered. What else? Well, we can either clone this element and make sure we copy paste this content, or we can actually use, instead of using another heading element, we can use a text editor, which is pretty similar. I'm just going to leave this lorem ipsum, demo text. I'm going to go to style. Let's choose the same white color. Let's go to typography and set a 20 pixels. We can choose a different font family, but this is the one that our theme is inheriting by default. And for weight, I think we can go with light, or maybe go with the normal one. And just as before, I also want to set a line height. I want to go with 1.2 for the line height. And just like we did for this element, let's go to the width and go custom. Let's choose pixel values, not percent. And again, type in 800. Under style, choose center. And okay, advanced. And we can go here under align cell, center this as well. Okay, now let's go back to the container, go to layout, and we have here something called gaps. And this actually controls the spacing between elements, both horizontally and vertically. So I'm going to unlink this value. And for the rows, I want to enter maybe like a 40 pixels. So we have a pretty decent amount of space between our elements. All right. So let's try to maybe copy paste this a few times, then go to style, and I want to increase the actual height to something more readable. All right. So as you can see, we are coming like pretty close to what we designed in the slider. Okay. Let's go to the bottom, and here I want to do something else. I want to add a button first. So let's go here and type button. We have our first button, explore our demos. I don't know, let's type something like view our products, something like that. Let's go to style, typography, maybe go with 16. Yeah, I think this is the right value. And for transform, let's go with uppercase. Maybe do some word spacing, a bit too much. Something like that. Okay, what else? Well, now I can duplicate this button. I think I forgot to set the color. So let's go back to having this button selected. Let's make the first one a dark color. So under background type, we can choose classic. I don't know, go with something like this. Maybe even increase the padding. Let's go with 15, and then 30, something like this. Or maybe 18. Let's make it a big, yeah, something like that. So I'm going to copy this and paste the style again. Let's go to this button, go to style, and this one should be the blue color. Now, the main question here is how can we make these buttons appear on the same line? And there are a couple of ways. Let's try the first one. Let's go to advanced and choose. So now setting these two inline should allow us to position both of these elements on the same line. However, you'll see that this no longer works. So ever since Elementor migrated to using containers instead of sections, we can use a different approach. So let's keep this for the width as default. Okay, and let's go to elements and type in container. We want to add a new container here. And I want to place these two buttons inside the container. And I'm not going to drag them, or you can try to drag them from here, but it's easier to use the navigator, all right? Use the navigator to drag and drop your elements. So now you can see in the container that both my elements, these two buttons, are positioned inside the newly created container. So let's click on the container, and this time for the direction I want to use a row horizontal, and the next option I'm going to use is justify content center. And there you go. This is pretty close to the exact same layout we have here. The main advantage, as I already said, this is a lot faster to render. So your site will be faster with going with that approach. So I'm going to delete this section where the slider evolution appears. And you probably saw like a small shrinkage. That's because we just added, because we deleted the first element, now we have the section, the container actually, that we created on our own. So that's a very good way to, if you're not using too many slides, which is not recommended at all, you should try to go with a simple layout like this one. So now I can actually view my page, and boom, you see that this appears just fine. Okay, obviously we can tweak this around a bit using the responsive options, so we can have the different font size for this heading, the text, how the elements will be positioned on mobile. But the main picture is that we can create the same layout using Elementor without the need of using an external plugin. Again, this only applies if you don't want to use like more than one slide. Okay, so this was just like a bonus to help you understand what's going on and how to make use of the powerful elements that we integrated with Creativo and Elementor. So I hope you enjoyed this, and as always, keep in touch and see you next time. Bye bye.